Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So with Spider-Man No Way Home ticket sales presumably breaking the internet, we have one of two things happening here. One, Disney is manipulating ticket sale numbers again to drive up interest in this movie. Or two, there are a lot of people who are legitimately interested. Based on all the social media interactions that I've seen, I'd say it's a combination of the two. There's no doubt in my mind that there are a lot of people who are actually looking forward to this movie.
No shit.
I'm not one of them, but that's okay. I've come to the realization that these movies just aren't made for old school fans of the character like me anymore. But I do have to question, what about this movie is garnering this much interest? If I had to guess, I'd say the inclusion of past Spider-Man universe characters is what is getting people's attention the most. People love their nostalgia these days, whether it's handled with heart and care, or used as a soulless cash grab. I think the most telling part about all this is that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is once again incapable of standing on his own 2 feet.
Get the fuck out of here! No, I cannot, it's serious!
If we look back, Homecoming and Far From Home didn't attract nearly as much attention as No Way Home is attracting. And that's simply because I feel like there are a lot of people like myself who just cannot connect with this version of the character. This Spider-Man is heavily reliant on his connections to other heroes in the MCU. To me, he typically gets outshined and overlooked in his own movies, whether it's by the villains or the villain's connection to Tony Stark. This is the main reason why I believe they're going with the multiverse route with this movie. Because Tom Holland's Spider-Man is mostly dull and boring, and doesn't really command people's attentions like his predecessors did. Now I know that the Tom Holland version of the character has its fans, and that's fine. But I do feel like a lot of those supporters are just carryovers from the MCU fanbase. I feel like they often refer to him as the best Spider-Man just because he has connections to the MCU, and not because he's a good characterization of Spider-Man.
That makes sense.
If you look back when the Sam Raimi films came out, the character had no choice but to stand on his own too. Because things like connected cinematic universes didn't exist yet. They didn't have to worry about tying Spider-Man into an already established universe. It was a self-contained story, and that in effect makes those movies stand out and be more memorable. Meanwhile, the modern Spider-Man movies tend to get lost in the MCU shuffle. Which is weird because it's Spider-Man. He's Marvel's biggest hero.
Why do these things always happen to me?
All of this makes the announcement today seem that much more curious. So franchise producer Amy Pascal has now confirmed that another Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy is in the works. So No Way Home will not be the final time that we see him in the role. That does kind of contradict Tom Holland's recent comments to GQ about not wanting to play Spider-Man when he's in his 30s. To be fair, that's 5 years away, and Sony and Disney could conceivably force 3 Spider-Man movies out within a 5-year period, because superhero movies are typically produced at a breakneck pace these days. And it's part of the reason why I don't get excited for them anymore, because there's no time for me to build excitement.
That's right, it stinks!
So we have to ask ourselves, is Tom Holland the right person for this job moving forward? Does he have enough gravitas by himself, without the help of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, to pull audiences in? I think it's a legitimate question that Sony and Disney don't seem concerned with asking.
Why?
I think No Way Home will make a shit ton of money, but it's going to be fool's gold as it pertains to the future of this franchise. But we'll have to wait and see how it all turns out. Now, rather than me just bitch, moan, and complain about everything, I intend to offer a solution, or at least what I would do in this situation.
Anybody care about what I want?
I do.
Shut up. Get out.
Now, my idea is presuming that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are showing up in No Way Home. And since we are establishing the multiverse, this would seem like a great time to give this franchise yet another soft reboot. And in all honesty, I would kill off Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man. And I don't mean that to sound as disrespectful as it probably does.
If he dies, he dies.
But I could see a situation where he sacrifices himself to fix the problem that he and Doctor Strange created in the first place. And I think that would give him a proper heroic send-off, and then Tom Holland would be free of his obligations. As far as the future of Spider-Man, I would keep him separate from the MCU. I think incorporating him into that universe has actually done the character a disservice.
Fuck me, right?
Now, if you absolutely had to have Spider-Man in the MCU, I would probably go with the Miles Morales version of the character. Now, I'm not personally a fan of that version of Spider-Man, but he would make a lot more sense in the MCU's new diversity initiative.
Get me a white boy, get me a blonde-haired white boy so I can enjoy that shit.
As for Peter Parker, I would take the opportunity with the multiverse to continue and or complete Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire's stories as the character. And it doesn't even have to be one or the other, it could be both of them. I think that this would make fans of all the different versions of Spider-Man happy. With this way, Holland, Maguire, and Garfield all get satisfying conclusions to their stories. A cherry on top would be if Sam Raimi could possibly return for one more outing with the character as well. I just think that every section of the fan base deserves some closure, and neither Maguire nor Garfield fans received any kind of closure with the movies that currently exist.
Come on. Do it! Do it!
The truth is that Spider-Man is one of my favorite fictional characters, but I've become disinterested with him in recent years. If for no other reason, it's because the studio won't see his story through. Even now, we're getting a rushed version of the Sinister Six rather than actually building to it. It seems like the studio either gets cold feet and abandons and reboots everything, or in Tom Holland's case, they go all in on the character that hasn't really connected with the masses in a meaningful way.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
There's many reasons why No Way Home has a lot of hype surrounding it, but none of those reasons has anything to do with Tom Holland, at least in my opinion. And it has everything to do with the past versions of the character that are more universally loved. So let me know what you thought about all this in the comments down below. As always, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications, and I'll see you next time right here on Real Shift. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Y'all be cool. Shut up.